While Ramstein in Germany aren't for everyone will agree that Ramstein is incredibly busy, and that's because it is the linchpin for the US military in Europe and also Africa. Most people may not realize that it has a very deep history going all the way back to World War II. In this video, I'm going to cover some of those central points and also touch on the tragedy that hit Ramstein in our most recent history. Stay tuned. The history of Ramstein Air Base starts with Ramstein Village, which goes back all the way to Roman times. The name Ramstein actually means ramming stone in German. One of the first recorded mentionings of Ramstein as a village was in the 1200s, and from this point forward it would remain as a farming village located in the valleys of the Rhineland. Shortly after the German industrial revolutions, the Germans soon developed a very advanced highway system, known as the Autobahn. It was during World War II that Autobahn 6, which was built over the swampy valley area surrounding Ramstein village, would collapse and leave a section of highway unutilized. In both an act of desperation and resourcefulness, the Nazis used this piece of highway as a makeshift airstrip throughout the duration of the war. By the end of the war, the Allies had captured the Rhineland and reutilized the airstrip for their own use. However, the airstrip's future would not be focused on Nazi Germany, but now towards the east, towards the Soviet Union. During the Cold War, many of Nazi Germany's advancements were repurposed by NATO and US forces. This included the Air Defense Operations Center. The remnants of the C2 Operations Center can still be found today. However, its access is limited. So one of the reasons Ramstein is so busy is that it's the headquarters for USAFE and Africa. But what you may not know is that the USAFE building behind me, which looks perfectly fine now, was once the targeted attack of a local terrorist organization. And they were actually somewhat successful, but you couldn't tell by looking at it. In 1981, the Red Faction Army, a radical leftist anarchist group, targeted the USAFE building with a detonated bomb that injured more than 15 people. Thankfully, no one died, but the building and destruction was very evident and made clear. The 1980s would not only begin, but they would also end in tragedy. The 1988 Ramstein Air Show disaster was one of the worst military-civilian incidents that had ever afflicted the United States military and the local populace. During the air show, a special and complicated maneuver known as the Pierced Heart resulted in a deadly collision over the spectator crowd. Over 500 people were taken to the hospital for their injuries, and unfortunately 31 people died due to debris and flaming jet fuel that crashed into the crowd. In the coming years, Ramstein will continue to be at the forefront of the military's impact on the world. Today, the 86th Airlift Wing flies humanitarian aid and other military supplies everywhere the U.S. military steps foot. If you've ever served a single day at Ramstein, know well that you have played a part on the world stage and made an impact on history. Stay safe and God bless.